In a secluded corner of the world lies Blackwood, a forest shrouded in mystery and fear. The heart of Blackwood holds a sinister secret, a cabin that once stood as a home but now stands as a monument to terror. The cabin, abandoned for decades, has become the epicenter of countless legends. Locals speak of strange lights and eerie sounds emanating from within. Whispers say it's cursed, and those who dare to enter never return the same. Twisted trees with gnarled roots reach out like skeletal hands, and the air is thick with an unnatural chill. The deeper one ventures into Blackwood, the more oppressive the atmosphere becomes. Stories of the haunted cabin have been passed down through generations. Yet every few years, thrill seekers driven by curiosity or disbelief venture into these woods. Among the latest to be lured by the tales of Blackwood were 5 friends, each driven by a mix of skepticism and excitement.
Mark, the fearless leader, had always been fascinated by the supernatural.
Emily, the curious historian, saw it as a chance to uncover truths hidden in folklore.
Jason, the tech-savvy skeptic, wanted to debunk the myths with his gadgets.
Sarah, the sensitive empath, felt an inexplicable pull towards the forest.
And finally, Tom, the adventure junkie, was in it for the adrenaline rush.
As they packed their gear and set out, a nervous energy buzzed among them. The thrill seekers were confident that their modern equipment and rational minds would keep them safe. But as they approached the edge of Blackwood, their laughter grew quieter, and a sense of foreboding began to creep in. The journey through Blackwood was unlike anything they had ever experienced. The deeper they went, the more surreal the forest became. Thick fog swirled around their legs, and the trees seemed to twist and contort into grotesque shapes. Every step echoed in the unnatural silence, amplifying their growing anxiety.
Emily, the historian, clutched her notebook, scribbling observations despite the creeping fear.
Jason, armed with his array of electronic devices, found that none of them worked properly.
This technological failure heightened their unease, but they pressed on.
Sarah whispered about feeling watched, sensing a presence that was neither animal nor human.
The thrill seekers were no longer just exploring. They were intruding on something ancient and malevolent. The once dismissed legends now felt all too real, and a sense of impending doom hung over them. Finally, they reached the clearing where the cabin stood. It was more decrepit and eerie than they had imagined.
Mark took the lead, pushing the door open with a creak that echoed through the clearing.
Inside, the air was musty and stale, filled with the scent of decay.
Emily began taking photos and notes, her excitement tempered by a growing sense of dread.
Sarah stood frozen in the doorway, her eyes wide with terror.
The cabin seemed to absorb all sound, amplifying the silence that pressed in on them. Jason's equipment began to malfunction again, the readings spiking erratically. Their exploration reached a crescendo when they discovered a hidden trapdoor in the cabin's floor.
Mark, driven by a mix of curiosity and bravado, pried it open.
A chilling draft wafted up from the darkness below, carrying with it the stench of ages.
The cellar was a labyrinth of shadow and decay. As they moved deeper, they found remnants of rituals long forgotten, candles, bones, and more of the strange symbols.
Emily's voice trembled as she explained the possible origins of the symbols, linking them to ancient, forbidden practices.
The air grew thicker with each step, and a sense of dread settled over them. Suddenly, Sarah screamed. She pointed to a corner where a shadowy figure loomed.
The thrill seekers tried to flee, but the cellar seemed to warp and twist, trapping them in a nightmarish maze.
The ghostly figure advanced, its form shifting and contorting. In a desperate bid for survival, they scrambled back up to the cabin's main floor. The atmosphere above had changed. The cabin now pulsed with an eerie, unnatural life.
The thrill seekers stumbled out into the clearing, their minds reeling from the terror they had witnessed.
As they fled through the forest, the malevolent force seemed to follow. The once silent woods were now alive with whispers and shadows.
They finally burst out of the woods, gasping for breath and covered in scratches.
They vowed never to return to Blackwood, but something had changed. The forest had marked them. Days after their escape, strange occurrences began to plague them. They realized the horrifying truth. The spirit had followed them.